We are recording, I believe, Charlotte.
All right.
I believe I am. So, we are here this afternoon. It's Wednesday, January 28th, 2015. Margaret Vos, and I am here with Charlotte Neron, a local artist from Sauk Rapids, to discuss and reflect on one of the universities, one of St. Cloud State University's traditions, the Lemonade Concert and Art Fair. So, Charlotte, I'll have you begin with a real simple task here. Could you please say your name and spell your name for me?
My name is Charlotte Neron, Charlotte, Neron, Neron.
Wonderful. So, Charlotte, as I talk to others that have been involved with the Lemonade Concert and Art Fair, you and your husband David's name come up again and again and again. I understand that you were one of the original artists. Some say there were 13. Some would say there were 12.
Yes, 12 or 13.
12 or 13. But you and your husband David were a part of that first Lemonade Concert and Art Fair, and have remained a consistent vendor for 40 years.
That's right.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about what was it like way 40 plus years ago on July 9th, it was a Tuesday, 1974.
Well, I don't remember it being a Tuesday. I guess I had it in my mind as always being on a Thursday night in August. But I could be wrong because that is over 40 years ago. And it was one of our first shows. I had just started potting in 1970. My husband David is a painter, and he's been painting all his life since he was a child. But so we started a gallery with our home in Sauk Rapids, and then attended the local shows. And at that time, there weren't a lot of local shows. I think there was probably one at Crossroads, and I really don't remember any other one. And of course, when the Lemonade Fair started, and Minnesota Orchestra would be the draw, we of course signed up. It used to be an evening performance. The art fair would start around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe.
So toward the end of the workday, right, and really inviting the community to gather their family together.
That's right.
And come over to
have
our campus.
A picnic on the campus, and wait for the Minnesota Orchestra and buy a little art while you were over here. And it was a nice combination of things, the art and the orchestra. And in August, there wasn't a lot going on in August, especially on a Thursday night in St. Cloud. So I thought it was a real good time to have an art fair. Then when the Wheels, Wings, and Water started, the summer festival, they wanted the art fair moved up to that time. And I believe it started in July.
Yes.
The first ones were in July.
Yes. So the Wheels, Wings, and Water, the city festival, was kind of resurrected in really the 1970s. They began that conversation, and I believe that first Wheels, Wings, and Water event with incorporating the Lemonade Concert and Art Fair was in 1981.
Oh, that late.
Yes.
I didn't want to see that happen.
And why was that? What were your concerns?
The Wheels, Wings, and Water. The Lemonade Show was so successful on its own, and I felt that the Wheels, Wings, and Water should have their own traditions. Leave the Lemonade alone, but they didn't listen to me.
No,
so.
They didn't. They didn't. But as you saw that relationship develop, and today we are now still a very important part of the City Festival. It's now called Granite City Days.
Right.
Do you feel that it does work?
I feel it does work, but on the other hand, I hate to see everything piled into one weekend. People can only spend so much money. They only have so much time. And it's hard to do it all in one weekend of the summer. That's why I wanted it to remain separate.
So there would just be more things for this
Yeah,
greater
yes.
St. Cloud community
Right,
to participate in. Let's talk about that relationship with the orchestra. So the Minnesota Orchestra performed a free outdoor concert.
Free outdoor concert. And it was before the days of the portable stage, which they have now. And so if in the afternoon the weather looked threatening, they would say, we're moving it inside. And it would be at
Well, down in Hallenbeck
Hallenbeck
was
Hall.
those first
Yes.
few years.
And I think we only went in twice. Yeah. And the first time, I think we had already set up outside. And then they decided to move it. So do we stay outside or do we go in with the orchestra? Well, we decided to go in with the orchestra. And the customers who had come to attend the art fair helped us move in.
I love it.
So we didn't have to reload the van and then move over there. And the second time, I think they made the decision a little bit earlier.
Probably earlier.
Yeah.
So, Charlotte, when you and David started going to this art fair, what was your setup like? I mean, today, the art fairs, every artist has their canopy.
It's big business
It's
now.
big business. But back, in 1974,
We were one of the lucky ones that got in on the ground floor, I think. Just when, people were tired of mass-produced things. They loved something homemade, handmade. And what our setup was, we had 2 mats, beach mats. We came in, laid them on the ground. The pottery was all on the ground, so everybody had to bend over, get on their knees, look at the things. And then I think we had a board for paintings that we hung the paintings on. But that was it.
that was it. No
That was
coverage from the sun.
No coverage. Actually, we didn't have a coverage for many, many years, and but it's nice. It's nice having a canopy.
Because it not only it protects you as a
and the
vendor
customers.
being out there for, really almost 10 hours,
10 hours, yes.
a long day, as well as the customers.
Right. And it's good in the
And
sun.
your artwork.
And yes, and it's good in the sun. It protects from the sun and the rain. And then our canopy also has sides on it, so we can zip it up really tight and feel quite secure in it.
So as you reflect back, 40-some years ago, are there other artists that you remember that were there from the very beginning that kind of developed through the years?
Well, the names that come to mind right away are Raleigh Kenny, Jim Loso, and Bob Triscoe.
Yeah, those 3.
Yes.
And were they all here members of the greater St. Cloud community in the St. Cloud area?
Actually, Raleigh Kenny and Bob Triscoe were both teachers.
Oh, for
And-
St.
well,
Cloud?
I don't know what school, Apollo? I think Apollo.
But District 742,
Yes,
the
yes.
St. Cloud School
And then
District.
Jim Loso taught too. So, but he was in Elk River, I think, most of his
Okay.
teaching career. But I know when Raleigh Kenny moved now to Arizona many years ago, but he would still come back for the summer show circuit. And he would do the Lemonade. He'd do Brainerd Art in the Park, and we'd run into him different places like that. So,
When you think about your artwork and over the years, did you end up seeing some of the same people coming back?
oh, always,
Always.
always, especially the Lemonade concert. I mean, that was the fun of coming back. You probably, a lot of them you wouldn't see except at the Lemonade concert. We all did different shows at different times and things like that, and some didn't do shows at that time. But now, when we come back, I look forward to seeing everybody.
So
every
connecting
year.
with the artists.
Yes, connecting with the artists.
How about your clientele? Do you
Well, that
see that
too.
consistent
Oh, yes,
clientele
yes,
coming back,
yes,
Charlotte?
Very much so. Very much so. And that's why when we send in our application, we get it in the mail, and I turn it right around, and send it back in the same day so I can get the same spot I had the year before. You get familiar with the space and you know how you're going to set it up, how you're going to arrange it, and your customers come looking for you in that same spot.
So we cut down on the confusion.
Right.
No confusion. Where are the Nerons? They are right here.
And I think I've had the same spot for 40 years at the Lemonade. And it's at the north end of the old library.
Yes.
And there was a big elm tree there. And that's one of the reasons I chose that. I didn't want to be right down in the crowd with this orchestra because that gets very congested. But this spot was perfect, and I had shade during the day because I did not have a canopy in those early days. So,
Right.
and it can be mighty hot in August.
Well, and even in June,
Right.
when
right.
it now is that last full weekend
Yes.
of June
On a Thursday night.
on a Thursday, and it can still
Oh, yes.
be up there.
It can be both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had sweatshirt days and long pants days, and we've had just very, very hot days, too. On the cold days, the lemonade doesn't sell as well, I don't think.
No, coffee does.
Yes.
And hot chocolate.
Yes.
And hot chocolate. Well, Charlotte, you know, I'm sure you know this, that the Lemonade Concert and Art Fair has been noted as one of the largest one-day art fairs in the region, because most art fairs are 2-day.
Mm-hmm.
Some are even 3-day. You know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some are 4-day.
Yes.
Why do you think the Lemonade Art Fair has continued with so many other good art fairs have failed or no longer exist? And maybe sometimes it's not failure. People just decided we don't want to do that anymore. But what would be your observation of that?
Well, I think one-day shows are nice shows, are good shows. We look for one-day shows. We don't care how long the day is. We'll get up at 3 in the morning and probably won't get home till midnight. But it's one day, you're to the art fair, you're back, you're home, it's over. Although 2-day shows have some advantages. If it were to rain on the day of the art fair, you don't have a second chance at setting up and selling your wares. I think that's why Little Falls went to 2 days, because they had a couple occasions where it rained on the first day. Well, you could recoup your losses then on the second day. But, well, Ginny Tennant has been part of the art fair since the very beginning, and she's been so accommodating. Every year, the application would come in the mail, and there'd be a little smiley face on the application, and with a little note from Jenny, "Oh, it's that time of the year again. Hope to see you there." And then I would turn it right around and send it back and say, "Can I have my same space I had last year?" And, "Oh, sure, no problem." And she would be so accommodating, and she tried to accommodate everybody and
she
their
did.
wishes. And it's kind of hard to set up on the St. Cloud campus. I mean, there's hills.
It's not easy.
And structures and statues and things like that. So, but she does a good job, and she's been consistent.
Yes, she has. And
Yes.
Ginny Tennant has been involved with the very first
Since the beginning.
and has remained that constant community connection for the university, for the artists.
Right,
Um,
right.
So she sends out her letters around January, huh?
Well,
or-
I guess, I don't know if it's always been that way, but we always get them plenty of time.
Plenty
ahead.
of time.
Yeah, and it's been an inexpensive art fair. I mean, most shows charge too much, and I think the important thing is to start a show low fee.
Yeah.
To get the artists interested. And then once you get the artists interested, the crowd is interested, then you can raise your prices. But the St. Cloud Lemonade show has always been reasonably priced.
Yeah, that's a good word, isn't it? Reasonably priced. I believe in those early years when it was the artist portion of the Lemonade Art Fair was part of the St. Cloud Arts Council. It was part of
Probably.
their work, their initiative. And people like Arlene
You're
Helgeson,
right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Really felt that we had a very rich artistic environment in the greater St. Cloud area, central Minnesota area, and really wanted to help promote and highlight
right.
local artists
Yeah.
and local work.
Yeah, I don't know who was responsible for starting the Lemonade. I suppose it was a combination of people and the college. But yeah, the campus has changed since the very first one, and the artists have changed.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Charlotte? If you had to think about advice for a new artist that would be out there trying to figure out, how do I make it? How do I make this my life, my career? What would you say about getting involved with the Lemonade Art Fair?
Oh, well, I think it's one of the best around, and it's reasonably priced, as we talked about, and the crowd is there.
People
The
come to
crowd-
shop.
Oh, yes. And that's the other thing. When it was at night, it was a combination of music and art. Now it starts at 11 a.m. and the art show is the big part of the day, and then the music is the big part of the night. So by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, it's slowing down art-wise, but then people are coming to see the music.
So then it
it's
kind of
actually-
comes back
yeah,
up
it comes
again.
back to life again.
How about for someone organizing a new art venture? And I hear already advice would be, look at what is the fee, because each artist rents space,
Right,
They pay
right.
a booth fee.
Yes.
And some artists, their artwork is not that expensive.
No.
So they have to sell a lot of pieces just
Yes,
to
yes.
take care of
And
the fee.
That comes out right off the top of your profits, of course. And I know some art fairs, first year, charge an exorbitant amount, and they don't know if they're going to get a crowd. You as an artist don't know if they're going to get a crowd. And, I mean, you can sit there all day and not have a sale. But the Lemonade has been proven to be a good show and draws a good crowd. And there's such a variety of things. Lots of crafts, lots of art, and
I think, we have to give Ginny Tennant that the credit for the right balance.
right.
Because I think what I hear from artists is if we're all selling the exact
right.
same
right.
kind of thing, there isn't enough sales to be made.
Yep.
How do we get a balance so
Yep,
that maybe there's some glass blowers and there's some jewelers?
But the tough job now for the organizers is to determine what's original art and what's buy-sell. There is a lot of buy-sell out there, and some art fairs don't care, but the artists do. And if there's too much buy-sell, you're not going to go back.
So you use that term buy-sell. Can you explain that a
Buy-sell,
little bit?
It's when the artist goes to the beach all day, all week, and not the artist, the participant in the art show, and then goes to a market and buys their goods to sell at the art fair the next weekend. Well, I, as an artist, have to go home and reproduce what I just sold. So, yes, there's a lot of buy-sell these days, and it is hard. They're not supposed to be allowed in the show. but
It
they
would
get
not
in.
be, because there aren't really hard written rules.
No,
But it really is implied. It's an art fair, meaning
it's
artist.
produced by the
artist.
And I know we've been next to people I know it's been buy-sell, but you have to prove it. And how do you prove it? And it says in the application that they will be asked to leave if it's determined that they are buy-sell. But, they threaten with lawyers. And
It complicates things. I didn't think artists were political. We get into politics.
Well, I don't know if I want to call that politics.
Politics, okay, political in that.
Yeah.
I will sue you if you send me
yes.
send me out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then I won't invite you next year.
Well, that's right. That's
And that
what we
might be
should
the
do.
easiest
But they
solution.
may have a picture of something they had produced at one time. Most art fairs, you have to send in pictures or slides, photos or slides. And they may have a photo that maybe their aunt produced or something, so they'll send that in. They'll get into the show, but they'll bring totally different things
stuff.
And unless you have a catalog there that shows the same identical thing that they're trying to sell, you can't prove it. So, and we had somebody next to us at the Lemonade one year that their aunt made it, so, but.
And when you have 200 artists,
Yes.
250 artists, again, that organizational part of that art fair happens literally for months ahead of time.
And it's a lot of work.
And it's a lot of work.
And it, like you say, it takes a village.
It takes a village. And Jenny makes it look so easy.
Yes,
She
and
makes
she
it look
enjoys
so,
it.
and she loves it.
She enjoys it. I know she's out there marking the spots the day before. Hopefully it doesn't rain and the tape is all gone the next day. But she puts in a lot of hard work.
A lot of energy. So when you think back over 40 years, are there any highlights? Is there any particular one that you would go, oh, that really was the best art fair ever? Or do they all, because of that consistency and your space really remaining the same, except for the elm tree leaving,
I think that's what made us get a canopy.
There you are.
Are you talking about just the Lemonade show? What's the best?
Just the whole day.
The whole Lemonade.
Yeah.
Well, gee, I don't know. There's so many good things about it. It's a lot of work because we have to truck our things in a couple blocks because you're not allowed to drive on the campus.
So just the setup alone.
Yes.
It takes, how long?
Well,
how long does it take you to set up?
Oh,
an hour?
No, we take 3 hours. It takes us 3 hours to set up. So
Wow.
we always arrive early, and you want a good place to park. You want to be as close as possible. So that's the first thing you have to figure out is where's a good place to park, although you are assigned spaces at the Lemonade. But so we have to truck our things in about 2-3 blocks from the parking lot.
What time do you start for an art fair day,
Well,
for Lemonade Day?
For
What
the
time do you
Lemonade,
start your day?
We meet over here at 7 because that's the time the people get here to help us.
So we have
direct us.
volunteers
Yes,
that are
volunteers.
helping. They help
And
direct.
they remain consistent too. The check-in gals. I think they're tennis buddies of Ginny's or something
I
like
think
that.
you're
is what
correct.
I heard. So anyway, the truck is loaded. It's been loaded from the day before, and we use a van. We used to use a station wagon, and it was like putting a puzzle together to get everything to fit into that van, because I have 6 crates of pottery, and my husband has lots of paintings, plus the equipment needed. Racks, your carts, you want to cart it in, you can't carry everything in, especially pottery is very heavy. But anyway, we get it carted in, and our family, our 2 daughters, help us. They arrive
Wonderful.
here at 7 o'clock, and they help us truck it in, because it is a lot of shows you can drive up to your spot, unload, and then take your vehicle away, which is very nice. But they don't want any cars on the campus. So that's their regulations.
So when you
their
say
rules.
it takes 3 hours, you're talking 4 people. It takes 3 hours
they
or
help
3.
us unload and get it to the spot, and then set up the racks and the canopy, and then I just say, go. I'm in place. I can take my time now and set it up the way I want it set up. So then they go, and David and I would set up.
The two of you do
yeah,
that.
Yeah, and we'd be through maybe an hour before it opened, but it gives you a chance to get organized and
It's a
get
lot
your
of
head
work.
on straight. It
Yep,
is a lot,
of work.
But then you have all day
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy the day and the customers and sell your wares. And there's
Exactly.
nothing more exhilarating than selling something you've produced.
Exactly. And to meet the person buying it, that
Right.
connectedness,
That's
Charlotte,
important.
whereas a purchaser to meet the artist. You made this.
Yes.
And I now know you.
And that has a memory for you and for me. So, you know.
It's powerful stuff. And then when the day is over, well, the orchestra is usually done performing by 9 p.m., and the artist can start packing up or a little bit before that. But most of the folks are maybe going to still stop by and shop, or
By that time, it's
they're
dark.
done. Okay, the sun has set.
The sun is set, yes.
It's
And
time to go
In
home.
the early days before spraying of mosquitoes happened, we'd be swatting mosquitoes like crazy trying to pack our wares. But I do think they spray now, and it's gotten a lot better.
Manage it.
Yeah, and then we have to. Then our girls come back and help us load the
So
van.
here,
So I
what's,
don't get home till 10 o'clock at night.
oh, and
So-
then you soak your feet for the next day.
No, because
No?
you're not really on your feet that much. You know, you're doing a lot of sitting during the day and talking to people up and down, up and down. So no, but you're ready to crawl into bed,
Oh,
take
I
a
bet
shower
you
and crawl
are.
into bed. Yeah,
I bet you are.
but it's very rewarding, very rewarding.
And it must be.
It is.
Because, Charlotte, for you and your husband to have this on your calendar year after year, things come up. Things come up, but it's been a priority
Oh,
for the
yes,
two of you.
yes.
And
Well-
what a benefit for the Lemonade Art Fair to have people like you, because consistency certainly with Jenny, consistency certainly with our relationship with the university, but it's also that consistency with artists who support the event.
And art has been our life, David and my life, and we've enjoyed it. It's our recreation, entertainment, our social life, and it's been a good time for just David and I to connect on the way to shows. We're both in the car. There's really no place else to go, or you'd have to talk to your spouse. So it was good. It was good that we had that time together.
So as we look to the future, because we're already busy planning the next art fair for 2015, but if we look ahead to, 2024 for the 50,
2024.
yeah.
I'm not going to be.
You're not going to be at that one? Come on, Charlotte. But what would you hope? What would be your wish? What would you say if I could have one thing happen for the 50th? What would it be?
Well, I just don't know what I'd say about that. That you have lots of sunshine and lots of new artists, new things happening on campus.
Because that's what it really is all about, isn't it?
It
As well as the
evolves.
consistency, it's the
Yeah.
the
Evolve.
evolution, huh?
Yes, evolution.
Of new artists, new ideas. Oh, Charlotte, this has just been a real treat to visit with you. Thank you so much for
Well, thank
taking
you.
the time.
I enjoyed it.